Hello, all of you beautiful beings of light, you sovereign beings of light. In 2023, we are focusing on sovereignty, and that's all about being self-governing. Today, I'm having a conversation with a beautiful soul. Susie Beiler has created an event that's coming up in a few days. It is the Soul Power Symposium. And it is all about feeling the power of your soul within your life. And she has an extraordinary presenters that are going to be a part of this. And I'm so delighted to be bringing her to you because she is really, really a beautiful soul. And it's interesting, she and I actually have some childhood stories, which we probably won't get into too much today. But it is always interesting to meet someone else who grew up in a super duper little religious commune the same way that I did. So I'm going to bring in Susie. We're going to be talking a little bit about her awakening story, the awakening that's happening on the planet right now, and this beautiful Soul Power Symposium that she's created that is going to help change the world in 2023. 2023 is going to be another incredibly transforming year for humanity, and it's really important that we get it started the best way we can. And Susie's event, I believe, is going to be a very powerful part of this transformation that's occurring in 2023. So let's go ahead and bring her in. Hi, Susie. It is so great to see you here. And it's so great to reconnect with you. I know you and I did a recording together for your new Soul Symposium, and I'm so pleased and honored that you've chosen me to participate in this event because it is interesting, the word I'm hearing is groundbreaking, but it's not the typical groundbreaking that people think of. It's more like breaking open the ground, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Creating an entirely new, well, it's part of the new earth experience.
Yeah.
Creating a new grounding experience for people. And you're going to love this because one of the insights that came through to me a couple of days ago is that a lot of spiritual teachers and healers are doing these grounding exercises, but they're grounding people into the old earth.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yep.
And then wondering why they continue to repeat those old earth, lower vibration experiences.
Right. Yeah.
So it feels like as you're grounding people into the new earth.
The new earth and wherever they need to be grounded. I did a transmission with Prime Creator, and the message there was that some people need to ground to the heart of the galactic core. Some people need to ground to source. Some people need to ground to the heart of the cosmos. There are different places. And so particularly if someone has trouble grounding, if they try like the old paradigm way, grounding to the core of the earth, whether it's the old one or the new one, if that's not working for people, there might be a different method that works.
Oh, okay. That's great. So tell me a little bit about you. You and I just met a few weeks ago, and your energy is so beautiful.
Oh, thank you.
So peaceful.
Thank you. I'm laughing because of what we talked about before we started the recording and how I wasn't feeling so peaceful. So I appreciate it.
We just have to come back to center, do a little breathing and come back into this heart center. And as soon as we do, it's like, oh yeah, that's right. Oh, right.
That's right. That's who I am. Yes. Thank you.
So tell me a little bit about you and well, for one, your Soul Symposium you've created is based on awakening, and it's so, well, of course, the timing is perfect because we are in this great awakening right now. But I want to know a little bit more about you and your own awakening experience, because every person who is awake, if you will, having a spiritual awakening experience, has had some kind of experience that helped to crack them open. And a lot of times it's painful.
Yeah, for sure. So I created the Soul Power Symposium because, well, first we'll start at the beginning. I grew up Mennonite, which is part of the Christian religion. And that was a very, in some ways it was spiritually oppressive because there's like a very narrow way of doing spirituality. But in other ways for me, I had my own personal relationship with God. And so it was it worked for me in that way because I was personally connected. I prayed directly to God. I didn't have to go through a priest or a pastor, like I had that personal relationship. So that really grounded me growing up that way. was very connected to the earth, did a lot of gardening. You know, my dad had a garden. I helped him in the garden, those kinds of things. It was protective also, you know, in that way. You know, I never got into drugs and experimenting with sex and, you know, like all these things that people do. And I'm not judging any of that, but that wasn't meant to be part of my path this time. And so I had that protection and that grounding from the way that I grew up. But then eventually, you know, my soul was trying to get me to awaken. And so I went through several health crises. And of course, you know, my mom was a nurse. And so she took me to the traditional medical route, and I was on Prozac for 9 years, and, you know, just these things that put me in different boxes. But, you know, my soul kept trying to get my attention, kept trying to get me to wake up into a different understanding of things. And eventually I landed in the right place with an acupuncturist who became my mentor, and we've had a relationship for over 18 years now. And I was on his table that I went through an awakening experience. And it literally was very sudden, like the light bulb came on, and I had a tremendous healing experience. And then from there, it was wonderful. I had 2 weeks of bliss, and I was like, oh, life is amazing. Everything's perfect. Everything's good. And then I was like, okay, time to get grounded, time to do the real work. And that's when I had to go in and rewire my nervous system and my brain, activate my DNA. That's when I had to heal my wounds, heal my inner child, look at my shadows, confront everything within me that was holding me back, and really change everything in my life. Because if you can imagine, growing up Mennonite, there's a very specific way that you live, and I freed myself through that experience of transformation. So for the past 18 plus years, that's what I have been doing. I've been healing myself, freeing myself, expanding, awakening. You know, it's an ongoing journey, Victoria, as you know.
Yeah, for sure. You know, what's interesting, I forgot about the Mennonite. So the little religious commune I grew up in, also Christian based, it was like down the hill was a Mennonite community. And they're both the same. It's interesting how our childhoods are so similar, because we both grew up in these really closed cultures, if you will. And so there isn't a lot of exposure to the outside world. And there isn't, as you said, the drugs and the alcohol. That's just not a part of it.
Right.
And so there is that kind of not necessarily being exposed to the outside world, and then having to completely recreate our identity as we really are.
Yeah, it's still funny. I still now, even to this day, people will mention a movie and I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about, or a name of a band or certain music or whatever. And they're like, you know, that was from when you were a kid. I'm like, not for me, it wasn't. So I feel like I'm in my 20s sometimes, like still learning how this world works.
Yeah.
But at the same time, not learning how this world works, but learning what I am to create for the emerging new earth. And that's part of how the Soul Power Symposium was born. I was given this vision of planet Earth, and there was a light grid around the planet. And as I looked at the grid, these little lights were turning on all throughout the grid. And I was like, ooh, this is beautiful. This feels really nice. What is this? And what the answer was is that these are people's soul lights turning on. And you, Susie, are to be a part of helping people turn their light on. And so I was like, okay, well, how do I do that? What, you know, give me a little direction here. And that's how the Soul Power Symposium was born.
Oh, that's great. I got that same vision probably about 10 years ago. There was little bright lights all over the planet that were just popping on. And you, Victoria, you and several other presenters in the symposium have shared that with me, that they also had that same vision. So it's really coming together in this space. Yeah, and what I was actually shown is that we needed to start creating lighthouses in a sense. We needed to start coming together, which is exactly what you've created with this symposium, as these lights all over the earth can come together as one unified light and actually be super bright rather than just being one little individual light. When you put enough of us together, we become incredibly bright.
Exactly.
And I love that you got that same message, and that's what you've created here.
Yeah.
And what's wonderful, or there were bright lights all over the world, but us actually getting together and creating something that can enlighten the entire world all at once was actually more difficult. One of the gifts that came out of COVID is that so many people discovered this technology where we're able to meet, hundreds of people can meet in the same space at the same time. And when those lights all come together, how immensely bright they can be.
Agreed.
So yeah. That's so cool. You got the same vision.
It's pretty fun. It's pretty wild that we all have had similar, not all of us, but a lot of us, you know, in a lot of the presenters have had this similar vision of the lights turning on. And so when I share that, they get it. It's like, oh yeah, I had that vision too. That's what we're doing. So those of you who are listening, we invite you to join the symposium and turn your light on. And if it's already on, then grow it brighter. You know, this is why we're here. This is why we're stepping up in service to offer this to you, so that you have some tools and resources and healings and processes and activations and, you know, practical ways to get you moving on your soul path, because that's really where we're moving to. We talk about the new earth, and my vision of that is really where people are living their soul mission. They're doing what they love. They're doing what, you know, that passion that burns inside, that's lit up, and they're living that. So instead of doing a grind that they hate, they're doing something they enjoy. Mm-hmm. And what's so fun about us humans is that we all love different things. And so there's not going to be this competition thing and like, oh, well, who's going to clean the toilets? Like, you know, we're going to figure out how to work and play together where we're all doing what we love and enjoy. And I'm excited about that, because that's what I'm here to inspire people to do, and to give people the tools and how to do that.
Oh, that is so beautiful. And, you know, and I completely agree that when I see what the future of Earth looks like, it's exactly like that. And it's so funny because people, you know, here's a perfect example, that not everyone is going to want to live in a mansion. Because I've heard that say, well, if money floods the planet, everybody's going to live in a mansion. Well, no, actually, some people really have zero interest in living in a mansion. Some people are perfectly content living in a one-bedroom apartment because there's not a lot of work that goes with that, or whatever. They like their small, intimate space.
Yeah.
So, you know, and some people want to live in cities, and some people will want to live in a sustainable community. But the difference is it's going to be based on choice and what they gravitate to in their heart, and not working a job to make money just to make a living, just to get by. That's draining news. That's old world.
Yeah. And look, if you're in that space right now, there's no judgment in that, but the Soul Power Symposium is here to really inspire you to make choices that light you up, and to get you galvanized on how to do that. Because I've been doing this for over 18 years, right? Like, I'm pretty solidly landed in the lifestyle that I've chosen and created for myself, but it's taken time. And in the beginning, I didn't know how to do it. I didn't know what to do, but I just started listening to my heart and just started taking baby steps to do it, you know, and started building and started changing things. And that's really what it takes. It's not going to be like, okay, now I'm in my dream life. You know, it takes a little bit of commitment, discipline, work, whatever words you want to use. Mm-hmm. It's going to take that.
Exactly. And that goes along with what I've been hearing a lot with people talking about, you might have heard 3D to 5D, right? That people think that they're going to wake up and just magically end up in this perfect world. Well, you and I both know there's a process that goes with that. Yeah. There's a process of letting go of everything that isn't that in order to arrive at that and within ourselves. And so for you, it's been the 18-year journey of letting go of everything that isn't that.
Yes.
For me, it's been a few more years. How many more? But there's always an up leveling and an up leveling and an up leveling as we let go of more and more that isn't the pure, absolute, unconditional love, and living a life that's pure bliss. If you and I both got a taste of that, just enough to go, oh man, that's good stuff. Oh, wow, that's good. There is no drug out there that feels that good. And then you get that message that says, but you still live on planet Earth.
Yeah. And you still gotta carry wood, chop water.
Yeah. Because I even asked, I said, can I just stay here? And the answer was no. But what it does is it reminds us what's possible, what there is to aspire to. And that bliss is available for everybody.
Yeah.
And so getting to experience that, it's like, oh, now I get it. Now, so what was described to me is we wanted you to know what love really is. And feeling that level of love, which is pure, absolute bliss, is available. And I think you and I both had that experience so that we would know what's really available for humanity, and so that we can help people gravitate toward that. It's actually like up, right? Although it's inside ourselves, it's still a higher vibration. So a lot of people think they have to go up, like they're going somewhere, but it's actually within ourselves.
Yeah.
And that, and then that's when I see you and we had that first conversation, that's what I feel from you, is that even though you might not be in that pure bliss all the time, you're always resonating with it.
Yes. I love that you say it that way, because I say a lot that even when I'm working through my stuff, and even when I'm in grief, and even when I'm cranky or whatever, there's an underlying joy that runs through me. And that joy is because I know I'm listening to my soul. I know I'm on my path. I'm confident in myself and the choices that I've made to get myself where I am today. I have that trust in the divine. And there's joy in that. There's joy in that surrender. There's joy in that courage. There's joy even when I feel those emotions that I don't like to feel. There's joy in that because I'm even allowing myself to feel them.
Yeah.
Right? Like so many people don't allow themselves to feel what they actually feel. And so they get all stuck and gnarled and bottled up inside, and it comes out in crazy ways, and they do crazy things. And that's not bliss. But if you actually allow yourself to be aligned to your soul, to your flow, even when those intense, heavy emotions come and those life experiences happen, if you are aligned to your soul, this is what I believe, if you are aligned to your soul, that joy is that it's a current that is always there that you can tap into.
Yeah. It's funny because every once in a while I've had, it's interesting because for me, the more I've gone up that spiritual spiral, and every once in a while life throws you something, right?
Oh yeah.
Man, sometimes being a human being really sucks. Okay, so I'm done with my little pity party. Let's get back into it again. But the thing is, with having the tools and the resources, we don't stay stuck in it.
Yes.
It's like, okay, this sucks. Okay. Now let's get back to work.
And this too shall pass. Like the thing that I've learned that's helped me, I don't want to say it's helped me the most, but tremendously, is when I'm in those tough times, knowing that the energy will shift. I'm not going to stay in here forever. But if I would let my mind get locked into it, then I could stay there forever. If I would wallow in the suffering, then I could stay there forever. So I just let myself be with whatever's happening, as you know, as much as possible, and have that understanding that the energy is going to shift. It's never going to stay this way. And that's something that my mentor taught me early on. Thank you, thank you. And I'm so grateful for that tool. Because right now, if we look at what's happening on the planet, if you're sensitive and you feel what's happening on the planet, it could easily become, oh my God, we're going to hell in a handbasket. This place is effed. We're all screwed, you know? But we know that's not how it works. We know the energy is going to shift, and it is shifting. And it's shifting beneath the surface, and it's shifting now in physical ways too. And it's really exciting.
Yeah, it really is. And you know, as we were saying before we got on camera, that the reason it looks the way that it does is just because the shadows are being exposed. And so when we were in the dark ages, if you will, you can't really see the dark in the dark, but there is so much light flooding the planet, and there is so much love now expressing itself from the hearts, because the human hearts are starting to wake up and feel a level of love they've never felt before. But because there's so much light and so much love on the planet now, that all those shadows, we're starting to see them.
Yeah, because there's nowhere to hide.
There's nowhere to hide.
Everything's being illuminated. Everything.
And that's why it's scary, because people are finally seeing it for the first time.
Yeah. Yeah, we've adjusted because we've known what's been going on. You know, we've had a heads up. We've been privy to this information. And so none of what's showing up is really surprising us. But for people who haven't been plugged into that, knowing, it's shocking, and it creates a lot of dissonance, and it can create psychosis, and, you know, it's very real. It's very real, like the insanity that people can feel with all of this.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And I think, as you said, it's really important that people allow themselves to feel what they're feeling, because there is a lot of guilt and shame that comes with, it's not okay to be angry. It's not okay to be depressed. It's not okay to feel anxiety. So they're having to stuff their emotions, but the truth is, you stuff them, they're still there. They're going to come back up and resurface because we have to work through them. So it's better, as you were saying, it's better to say, you know what, today I'm just not having a good day. And that's okay.
Yeah.
And just allow yourself to be in it without any judgment about it. And and then what some people do, as you were saying, is they get stuck in the grief or in the moment of the suffering, and then they wallow in it. And that keeps them stuck in this tar pit, if you will, of that's hard to dig themselves out of. And that also comes through not acknowledging that, hey, you know, suffering happens.
Yeah.
Suffering happens. How long we sit with the suffering is a choice.
Or if we suffer with the suffering.
Right.
Meaning that these things can happen and it can feel difficult, but we don't have to suffer through it. We can have a different perspective about it. In other words, okay, this sucky thing is happening. I'm just going to feel my emotions about it. I'm going to understand that the energy will shift around this, and I'm going to just do my best with all of this. And I'm going to put my focus then on what I'm creating and what I want to see in my world.
The other thing too is asking yourself, this is what has worked for me when I'm in those really dense, dark times, is asking myself, what is it that this is trying to teach me?
Yeah, exactly. And that is using your soul power. When you take an experience and you alchemize it because you find the mastery opportunity in that experience, you learn, you grow from it, and then you take that nugget of wisdom with you on the journey. That is soul power.
Mm.
If you go through the experience and you say, well, this is crap, I'm not ever dealing with this again, and you like put it in a little box on the shelf, What have
That
what have
box
you
is going to
gained?
come off the shelf at some point.
Right. What have you learned? You still haven't healed the core wound. You still haven't dealt with the core issue. But when you find the mastery opportunity and you learn and grow, that's using your soul power.
Yeah.
And that's what we need to do every day. That's what soul power is in everyday living. That's what we need to do when life happens, you know? We look at it and say, okay, where do I need to grow? What do I need to see about myself? What do I need to learn? What's the mastery opportunity here?
And
And
so
then
this
figure
is
that
really
out.
about being powered by soul, right? Recognizing that we are soul having a human experience.
Yes,
And what
exactly.
is it that our soul is trying to teach our personality self, if you will?
Yes. Yeah, I like the way you put that. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. And when we go back to that, then you kind of then there's that realization of, oh, that's right. I do have the power to get through this. That because everything is an intercreation, right? It's never just we there is that we created this or I created this situation.
Yeah.
And there, although that statement of I created this situation can also be a little bit egoic, I guess, not necessarily both positive and negative. If you're saying I created this, there can be some shame that goes with that I created this horrible circumstance in my life. What did I do to create this? This is one of the issues that I have with the New Age movement, if you will, is that kind of over responsibility. But understanding that every circumstance that happens in our life is a intercreation.
Yeah.
We created it.
There are always other forces at work, and some are assisting us and some are trying to suppress us. And, there are always other things happening. So yes, we are responsible for ourselves, for our responses to what happens. And I do believe we have a lot of power as creators when we align ourselves to our soul. But yes, I totally hear what you're saying. There's like, if someone's raped, for instance, and you go in and you say, oh, I created this. Like, how did I create this? Oh, you can do yourself a lot of damage by taking full responsibility for that experience. Like, there was someone else in that experience, it's not all your fault as a creator, So I hear you. I think we need to be really careful with how we use that.
Yeah, absolutely. And that I have seen that there can be some who going back into those lower vibrations of guilt and shame and
Right.
judgment and all of that with some of these terms that are being thrown around, because they're not taking into consideration of everything that went into creating that circumstance. You were just one little part of it.
Exactly.
We live on a planet that is a co-creation of oneness, a co-creation. Every being on this planet is intercreating, and we're intercreating with source and with our guides and with our guardians, and
yes,
how many billions of other beings are a part of our creation.
Yeah. And from that understanding, that's also what went into creating the Soul Power Symposium. As the host, I'm just the host. Like, I'm not the whole thing, right? It's not the Susie show. As the host, I carefully curated all the speakers, because my intention with this symposium is that this is a collaboration of service offerings for humanity, for the people. Yeah, there are some business aspects that go into all of this too, because as spiritpreneurs, we're all running businesses as well. But this is really, when we get to the heart of it, when we get to the core of it, when we come together to create something like this, there's so much more power, there's so much more light, there's so much more potency, and we can serve at a higher level when we serve together.
I love that. I've never heard the term soulpreneur before, or spiritpreneur. What did you call it?
Yeah, spiritpreneur.
I love that.
Really? You never heard that?
But and you know what? It's really reminding me that in the Susie show actually cracked me up too, because that actually is a funny name for a show, but
It's good alliteration, but
it is. It's fun, and it's really fun that it's fun that you can make fun of it.
yeah, you have to make fun of yourself.
Yeah, well, we're supposed to. We're actually supposed to make light of everything, but not a lot of people understand the value and importance of making light of everything.
Yes, I love that.
What I was really seeing as you were talking is, and I'm sure you got the same message too, which is that in this new earth that we're creating, no one is a solo anything anymore.
Right.
That I'm self-made and this is my show and this is my thing. And that too is also part of the old paradigm.
Yes.
Everything that we create in this new reality is a co-creation. It's a cooperation where no one person is more important than anybody else. And I love that you bring that into this show, this symposium. I'm stuck on show now.
Sorry, I said Susie show and now it just is in there.
Well, it is great that everything we do, you know, what we're creating is a win-win-win for all life on Earth. And we're letting go of this old reality that's based in win-lose, which is that in order for some to win, others must lose.
Right.
We know that's simply not true.
Yeah.
That was an old construct created to keep some people above other people.
Yes.
And in this reality we're creating, there is no some above others. Yeah. We're here in mutual support.
Yes.
In service to the greatest good.
Yes. Yeah.
And we all win.
Yeah.
That whole old paradigm of competition is starting to just melt away, because it actually was a false construct to begin with.
I find that I experience much more joy and camaraderie and sense of community when I play this way.
Yeah.
If I'm trying to do it all on my own, well, that's no fun, and that's hard.
Hard work. Oh my.
That whole solopreneur thing. I used to call myself that, and I'm like, ooh, that word doesn't resonate anymore.
I've been doing it for 30 years. I'm like, I am so over being a solopreneur. Like, the more the merrier. And then share the wealth, right? Spread the resources. And that's what's so great about doing these cooperatives, if you will, is that we all come and we all bring our resources. We all bring our resourcefulness, and we all have something to contribute to the whole. And it's really about understanding and appreciating. What's the word appreciation actually means? To grow in value, which I love. So we're all here appreciating each other in these experiences.
Yeah.
And you've created such a beautiful container for that to happen.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Victoria. Yeah. So I would like to explain a little bit about how the container works.
Absolutely.
Yes, because the content will be released on January 23rd. And so I invite you to click Victoria's link here and register now. And then when the content starts to be released, to engage with it right away. So it will be available for free for 48 hours. And the first pieces of content are transmissions from Prime Creator. And that really sets the foundation and sets the energy for the container, for the space that we've all co-created here. And so when you listen to those transmissions, you get a sense of what's coming next. And you also, I don't know if I know how to explain it, but you're going to get that, like that activation or that initiation into the energy of the container. And you'll start to embody, if you receive it, you'll start to embody the frequencies of soul power, so that as you participate with each speaker, you're going to get a different piece, different energy signatures, different codes, different ways of understanding every speaker has shared their definition of soul power, which is super fun. And so you're going to get different perspectives, and each speaker will resonate with you in a different way. And so I encourage you to start out this journey with us from the very beginning, because that's where the foundation is set. And then at the end, after all the speakers have shared, then I close the container with a final transmission with Prime Creator. So there's a lot of energy in the container. There's a lot. There are a lot of energy signatures and soul codes and healings and processes and initiations and activations. Like it is potent this season. There is a lot in there. And you want to start off from the very beginning so that you get that solid foundation and that ability to start integrating the energies right away, and an understanding of, what you're getting yourself into.
Oh, I love that. And as we were saying before I came on camera, missing that first initiation, if you will. It's like going to a ball game and missing the first inning and then wondering what happened.
Yeah.
And yeah. That those transmissions are really powerful. My feeling, what I'm getting, the sense I'm getting from this event is that this could be a life-altering program for people.
Yeah.
That coming into that, the vibrations of this entire event are so high vibe, can actually change a person's entire human experience by being present with it.
Yeah, that's the point. That's the reason I put the work in, That's why we're collaborating. That's the point. To really spark that change in people's lives so that we can create the new earth together.
Thank you so much for following the guidance to do this. And this is going to be a massively transforming year for humanity. And here in January, we're laying the groundwork for it.
Yeah.
And to be able to come into the beginning of this year and really completely shift the entire human experience at the beginning of this year is really, really important. And I know that's the reason you felt guided to do it in January.
Yeah.
To really lay the foundation for this extraordinary year. And I know you've done this for previous years. How many years have you done this?
Well, this is the third symposium that I've done, but this is the second season of the Soul Power Symposium.
Got it.
The first one was the light language. This is much more my heart and my soul. Yeah, this is the time of year where I'm usually hibernating, right? Like I'm not trying to host some big event this time of year. But it was very clear, like this is when it's needed. Now is the time to do it. And so here we are. And I just invite those of you listening, if you're feeling something from this and you register, share it with a friend. So give your friends and family Victoria's link that she's going to put here, and share it with people you know. The idea is that this is spread far and wide so that people can really get this. You guys, it's free to sign up. This is free to take to receive. And of course, you can purchase the package bundle replay. You can get a one-on-one session with myself if you desire. But it's an easy step to take. If you want to light your soul on fire, if you want to make sustainable changes in your life, take this first step. It's easy. You just have to put your name and email address and click a button. It's easy.
As you were speaking, what I was seeing is that what we're doing is we're creating waves of love. And I'm actually seeing these waves go out as people start spreading this forward. These are waves of love. And we talk about how, some people are talking about the solar flash, right? And I keep saying it isn't a solar flash. It's actually waves of light and waves of love that are going to be changing the human experience.
Yeah.
And the sense I'm getting from this event is this is one way that we are going to be sending waves of love out across the planet and waves of light out across the planet. And I can sense that about this event. I know who some of the presenters are, and This is an amazing group of people you've brought together.
Yeah.
And it can heal the hearts of humanity all over the world. And as you said, all it takes is send. And then be present when you're presenting this present. This beautiful gift that you wrapped up and created for humanity.
Yeah. Show up and receive the content after you do that easy step. You know, I'm so passionate about this gift that myself and the presenters are bringing forth. And there's this burning desire within me just to have the whole world be part of it, you know? And I know that the whole world, like each individual person isn't going to be a part of it in terms of watching the videos. But I know that the whole world is a part of it because you articulated how the waves of love are going out. And so energetically, each being on this planet is going to be impacted. That is my intention, and that is what I know to be true. And so, like, I'm having trouble sitting still right now because the passion within my soul and within my body is just so big that people receive this and get to experience something, whether it's something little or something big. They get to experience something that shifts them on their soul journey in a positive way.
Yeah. It's interesting. What I'm hearing is that, yes, that in a way, everyone on earth will receive it.
Yeah.
And also what I was hearing is that this is the kind of thing that needs to go viral.
Mm.
We talk about other things being viral. Well, let's make love go viral.
Seriously, right? Viruses aren't the only thing that can go viral.
Absolutely. So make love go viral, and we all can do that.
Yeah.
By spreading it.
Yeah.
Let's spread a whole different kind of virus. Let's spread love and make love go viral. Make light go viral.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it really does feel like this event plays an important role in that.
Yeah. And you know, I feel guided to say, if any of you are listening to this and you want to share this and you want to get credit for sharing this, you can be an affiliate. You can create your own affiliate link and share this with people. Contact me at creationtemple.com/contact. And I'll get you set up with that if that's something that you feel that you're inspired to do.
Thank you for that. I didn't realize you were offering an affiliate program.
Yeah.
Ah, that's wonderful.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, I am incredibly blessed and honored that you invited me to be a part of this.
I'm blessed and honored that you said yes.
And thank you for being here with me today, and bringing your light. The entire intent of Fearless and Free TV is to enlighten humanity and to free humanity from this old fear-based reality that we've been living in. And the way to do that is through bringing more love into the human experience, because love transmutes fear and light transmutes darkness. And this conversation we've had today has been so loving and so filled with light and what we know is possible for humanity. Forget what the mainstream media is saying about blah, 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 blah. You know,
I know.
Throw up, if you will, about what's happening in the world, because we know what's really possible.
Right.
And we are bringing it.
Yes.
And we're inviting everybody who's watching this to help us bring it.
Yeah.
And when enough of us focus on that, all that other stuff is going to disappear. All the other stuff has to start falling apart in order for us to create something entirely new. So focus on the world we're creating and
Yeah.
not on the world that's falling apart.
Yeah. Let it do its thing. Let it do its thing. And while it does its thing and falls apart, we're rebuilding. We're emerging the new earth. We're birthing the new earth.
Yeah.
So let all that happen. Yeah.
Let it go.
Yeah. We know what we're doing over here.
Right.
Even if no one else sees it, we know what we're doing over here.
Well, they're not seeing it yet, and that's okay, because sometimes, well, as we know, that the process of creation isn't always visible in the beginning.
Right.
There's the imagination of it, and then there's laying the groundwork for it, and there's writing the plans for it, and there's having the meetings to create it. And so, it's funny because I'm getting the visual of a building. A building doesn't just show up. That there is a lot of other stuff that goes into building that before you actually physically see it.
Yeah.
So that's what we're doing. We're building a whole new reality. Just because we can't see it yet doesn't mean nothing's happening.
Yeah. And I want to say, in some cases, it is happening. Some people are living their heaven on earth.
Absolutely.
There are people who have created off-grid situations, and they're in bliss. I just want to say, like, again, that whole solar flash thing where some people think everything's just going to change in the blink of an eye. And hey, if it does, great. But there are stages to this happening. So some people have been in their heaven on earth for 20 years. And some are 20 years out, perhaps. It happens in stages. So if you're not seeing it where you are, then you create it.
That's right. Because heaven on earth is inside. It's an inside job. It always has been. It's not like humanity is just going to immediately pop into a whole new reality. There's a process.
The kingdom of heaven is within.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Susie, so much for being here today.
Thank you.
And for sharing your light, and for sharing your message, and for sharing this beautiful symposium you've created. And for all of you who are watching, as I always say, remember to hold your light so high others can't help but see their own light. Together, we are creating a world of peace, love, harmony, prosperity, and freedom for all life on earth. And as always, get bold, be fearless, and live free.